Morning, everybody. It is 8:10 a.m. It is October 21st. Welcome to my channel. Now, yesterday, we had what you call an open drive. Open. Pretty much no downside. And drove up. And then after the first, let's say, hour and a half, the market really just moved sideways. Tempo was kind of slow. And volume's actually lower today. Relative volume's lower today. Take a look at this relative volume here, 72%, 81% right now. That is definitely one of the lower volumes over the last week, for sure. For sure. Definitely. So, what are we going to do? We broke last week's highs. NASDAQ relatively stronger. And the ES pulled back this morning right underneath last week's highs, and now that's the pullback. It's getting bought up. Okay, there's a lot of overhead supply in the ES, so I'm curious how this market was going. I mean, I'm most likely we're going to go higher without some kind of news. So that's kind of what's going on. We have Netflix earnings after the close today. We had a bunch of earnings to report this morning, and we'll get into it. All right. So without further ado, welcome to my channel. My name is Steven Gonzalez. I use market profile to find structure, market profile and volume profile to find structure in the markets, along with supply and demand, gamma exposure levels, the most traded price of the year, the month, the week, and the previous day. That is how I come up with my game plans. Okay, use Anchor VWAPs, market internals to let me know what's going on once the market opens. Use Bookmap to execute, and I use my weekly expected move indicator for free. You can get that on my Discord to just see what's priced in the markets for the week. Okay, Apple yesterday actually hit its Apple hit its expected move to the upside yesterday. So Apple was pretty bullish. Okay. Now, hopefully, you guys join me every morning. All right, subscribe, set that alert. Let me be your morning coffee. Let me give you what the market is doing and why it's doing it. Economic news, a bunch of technical analysis, and I give you long and short trade scenarios. Okay. Now, if you want more in-depth coverage, you're going to join my Discord. That's Confluence Trading. Okay, Confluence Trading. With that, you get live commentary. Okay, intraday commentary. All right, what's going on in the market? You get my trades. You get my options trades that I've been putting a lot of options trades on lately. All right, so I just went long crude oil this morning. Finally got what I wanted to see. And let's see. I'll monitor today. It's pulling back a little bit. Not sure what is going to happen with that, but key support level there, and we kind of like had a little bit of a sweep there. I'm just seeing, hey, this is what I've been waiting for, some kind of structure break, and it got it. So who knows what's going to happen? You never know what's going to happen. Yesterday I'm long General Mills again, kind of the same setup as crude actually. Who knows? You never know. Okay, then you get trade recap videos, give me my weekend outlook on what I'm looking at. Okay, and my trade reflections on certain trades that I take, and my weekly expected move indicator that you can get for free. Okay, put it on your Thinkorswim platform, and you can also have it on your iPhone or Android phone. Okay, it's pretty cool. All right, that's my Discord. Now let's move right into futures. Ooh, okay, just got an alert. I might be looking to short gold. I'm telling you right now, might be looking to short gold. Okay, just got an alert in futures. We'll see. That's just a little alert to make me aware that it just broke a key level. So we'll see. All right, now here's our futures watch list, and I don't know if I even put this up yet. We'll do it again. And our VIX, interesting, is up 1.65%. Okay. Crude is up 0.77. Dollar is up 0.36. 30-year bonds are being bought. The Dow is flat. ES is flat. Nasdaq is exactly flat. Russell is flat. 10-year yield. Gold's really hitting that level. 10-year yield is down 0.15, under 4% yield. Bitcoin is down again. Okay, so that got a little lift yesterday. Could that have been a trap? I'm not sure. Ethereum down 2.40. Gold, let's see gold. Gold's down 2.68%. Okay, it's down $116. That's been on parabolic. Okay, it's going to get a pullback. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, doesn't have a lot of good structure underneath it, so we'll see. And silver's pulling back 4.68. Now the dollar's moving up. Usually they're inversely correlated. All right, moving on to the Mag 7 Plus. GE reported earnings. They're up 2.25%. Netflix reports after the close. They're up 0.60. Meta's up 0.52. Amazon had that outage. All right, their cloud services was down and affected a lot of businesses yesterday. They said that everything's all good now. Now, laggards here, Google down 0.21, Tesla down 0.27, Coinbase down 0.70. All right, let's look at our top sector list here. United Healthcare up 1.38%. Oracle got downgraded yesterday. Had a very bad day yesterday, bouncing possibly here. Okay. Chevron up 0.36. Who's lagging here? Whoa, whoa, whoa. You see what I'm talking about? That's a miner. That's how the parabolic move of gold. Okay, so you could either short NEM as well. I'm going to be watching really closely. Okay. Really closely. Now let's look at granular list here. General Motors reported earnings as well. They're up 11.19%. Raytheon, I believe, reported earnings as well. Lockheed Martin as well, I believe. Up 4.55%. Reddit up 3.47. IonQ, quantum computing up 2.95. Coca-Cola reported earnings up 2.72. Ford up 2.67. 3M reported as well, up 1.60. I think Philip Morris did as well, up 1.44. Who's lagging today? See, here's the miners. Here's gold. See, bunch of stuff in gold. People might be starting to take profits. Gold junior miners down 5.79%. That's a pretty nice move there. Gold ETF down 3.40. Bitcoin ETF down 2%. Oklo down 1.67. All right, 40net down 1.43. Okay, that's about it there. Okay, so gold could finally be getting profit taking. I mean, it's been parabolic, so we have to see. Okay, moving on to sectors. Who's leading the pack today? That would be your staples. Your staples. Hopefully General Mills is getting in the mix. Now, Staples, interesting, is leading this morning. Very interesting. I'm sorry. Energy is leading. Staples, second, up 0.31. Industrials up 0.27. Semis up 0.18. So technology is not really leading this morning. Semis really not leading. Market's very muted. Basic materials, which would include some miners and metals, is down 0.19. Okay. That's what's going on there. Let's move over to the economic calendar now. And obviously the government is still shut down. What do we have today? We have Fed Waller speaking at 9. And it's speaking at 3:30. API crude at 4:30. That's really it there. Okay, let's look at the earnings calendar. All right, so nobody really cares. Zion actually did report and actually had decent earnings. That's the bank that had that bad loan. Now, before the open, Coca-Cola, GE, all right, Lockheed Martin, Philip Morris, Raytheon, 3M, good, General Motors. So pretty big, decent companies reported for the open today, before the open. After the close, though, Netflix, Intuitive Surgical, Texas Instruments, Capital One, Mattel, okay, Omnicom Group. Before the open tomorrow, GE Vernova, I'm an owner there. I'm an owner of Vertiv, okay. Boston Scientific, Hilton, AT&T, Thermo Fisher, That is what's going on. And then after the close, you have Tesla, IBM, okay, Alcoa, Lam Research. All right. Back to here, we'll look at the juice. I didn't see anything about Trump today. Let's just refresh it. Okay. Oh, so Besant is speaking at 3. That's about it. Now look what I was just talking about. Remember I was keep talking about this dollar. So here it says the dollar climbed against all major counterparts while global stocks fell for their session highs as investors considered trade concerns and the impact of incoming US inflation data. Okay? Remember that dollar, it hasn't mattered the inverse correlation. Obviously the dollar has been weak lately, but if that thing starts cooking, we'll just have to see. Okay? All right, moving on to some more news here. Maybe we didn't cover it. Let's see. Let's just real quick if we can get a stock update here. Do we have a stock update? Let's see. See, gold and silver miners tumble as precious metals retreat. See. Let's see. Maybe we don't have that little update. It's okay. We'll go over here. General Motors lift forecast as tariff outlooks improves. Growth at a cost. Tesla's cheaper EVs might revive sales but squeeze profits. GE raises 2025 profit forecast on robust aftermarket demand. 3M raises 2025 profit forecast on margin expansion efforts. Interesting. I know Halliburton reported as well, I believe. I could be wrong about that. I thought they did. Maybe they didn't do it yet. Let's see here. Now, Elevance Health also, the company beat Wall Street estimates for third quarter profit as health insurer. That's, I think, probably why United Healthcare is up. Okay. Okay. Oh, let's look at Block. I believe that's ticker XYZ. Jeffrey raises target price to 95 from 90. IBM. Jeffries raises target price to 300 from 280. They report earnings after the close on tomorrow. All right. I think we're done here. I think we're done. Let's see if we get any upgrades here. American Express upgraded from a sell to a hold. Wow. PepsiCo. PepsiCo got an upgrade. I own PepsiCo. Price target of 167. Alrighty. Sunrun got an upgrade. Truist Financial got an upgrade. Alright, downgrades. Planet Labs downgrade. And Verizon got a downgrade. Interesting. Interesting. Alrighty. You know what I might do today? What was this, 10-9? Let's just do a quick RRG chart from 10-9. That's when the market dipped. Let's see who's weak. Let's see who's getting momentum. Let's do it. 10-9's the big day. We dropped. Let's just see. Alright, you can see right here. That's my little script. Let's just put in a date here. Enter specific date. What did I say? 10-2. Let's look at just the broad sectors. Let's just see what's getting the latest momentum, what is moving markets. All right, let's see. So this is from the 10-2, the day that we had the big drop. Let's see. Is that 10-2? Let's make sure that. Oh, I'm sorry. 10-10. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this. 10-10. I'm sorry about that. 10-10. chart coming. Remember, we dropped. I'm just curious. From 1010, who has been the leader? Semis. Now, what I like about this, it shows the latest momentum. Okay, look at semis. Took a dip. They're still the strongest compared to the SPY. SPY moved up 2.8% since the drop day. Is that possible? 1010. Maybe I should have done 10.9 before the drop. Anyway, let's just look at it. Let's just look at it together. See this momentum? Healthcare. Healthcare is getting a little move up here. Right? Let's see here. What else? Real estate starting to move up. Semis is the strongest, but the losing momentum. Okay. Who else is getting a little move? Financials. Right? Interesting. So healthcare, since that day, seems to be the one improving. Okay. Interesting. Now we take it one step further, right? We'll dive into the specific holdings of healthcare, and let's just see who's really cooking here. And then we'll move on from here. I'm just curious. Interesting. So ISRG, who reports earnings, is up 6.7. That might be earnings run up possibly. Has been the strongest. It's up 6.7% since 1010. Amgen up 4.5. I believe that's Thermo Fisher. TML up 3.6. United Healthcare up 2.8. Who's been getting lead? Let's look at this. Merck, AbbVie, Amgen, but Amgen is pretty strong. The latest one to really get some strength, if we looked at a chart of Merck or AbbVie. Merck really went from, when you go from the left to the right, that's momentum and strength. United Healthcare, probably, look at that though. That is moved into this column. So if you looked at United Healthcare, Merck, right? So let's kill this. Let's kill this. And let's look at United Healthcare and Merck. And we'll just look at the latest. Now, let's look at UNH. Let's look at UNH just to see what the latest momentum has looked like. Yes, yes, yes. There it is, showing you the latest momentum. That's a nice move here on United Healthcare. You're breaking out of this consolidation, right? So remember, healthcare sector has started to make a move, right? Now look. All right, so let's just look at the United, the XLV. That's your healthcare. Look at that. Look at that move yesterday. Pretty nice, right? Broke out of this consolidation, and we said United Healthcare followed suit, and we said Merck. Look at Merck. Pretty cool, right? This looks pretty nice, actually. You just broke the 200-day moving average. Oof. I might have to look at this. Very, very nice move here. Now, also was in that little mix was Pfizer. Let's see where they at. All right, not as good. Not as good. I do like the Merck. In ISRG, it should look like a monster. Yup, look at that. Boom, gapped up. That's reporting earnings. So, let's just look at that real quick. I'm pretty sure it is. I just read it. Oh, it reported earnings. It reports earnings today. So that's an earnings run up. But look, all right, that's been actually weak, and it just pushed up. So I'm not going to trade something on earnings, but I have to say United Healthcare and Merck look pretty nice. That looks pretty. I have to admit that. Wow. Merck could be. I'm going to add that to my list here. Let me add Merck to that list. I'm liking that. Okay. So, that's a winner. Look at that. It could really push up. Okay. Now, I don't know if they have earnings in the way. Let's see, their last earnings was. I have to look at where their earnings is. If their earnings is there coming up, then I'm not going to probably do much with it. But we'll have to look at it. Let's do one step further. And anybody ever wants me to analyze the stock for them, we could do gamma levels. We could do a bunch of stuff. I just want to look at Merck here. We'll just go around here. Let's look. We'll do the whole gamut here for Merck. We'll start with monthlies. Top-down approach here. So obviously I had some levels. Now, real quick, why don't we just do the full? You guys can see how I do my levels here. Let's clear the drawing set. So we're going to go with monthlies. I like to start monthlies. Look at this monthly support level. Wow. So you're coming off, look at that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months of bottoming. Wow. This is a resistance here in a monthly. This is like all-time highs. Okay. Wow, that's a lot of months of consolidation, right? Let's go back a little more. That's a big support right here. We have to include that guy in there. That's a lot of support there. All right, let's move on to weeklies. If this is going to be weeklies, this is the weeklies. This is the weeklies. This is about. I think I have this about set on 5 years back. 5 years. 5 years. Yep. All right, so let's do the weekly chart. Look at that. The most traded price is $77 of the last 5 years. Look at that. And this could make a move, boy. I'm really liking Merck. Not gonna lie. Let's continue doing our weekly levels now. Oop. Let's continue doing our weeklies. All right, we got some resistance there. More resistance here. More resistance here. Resistance here. More resistance right there. Okay. Now we got our weekly levels. Let's go to the dailies. Look at this volume here. Boy, am I liking this Merck. Might have found a gem here. All right, now we go to some daily levels. Here's a daily level. Boop. There's some resistance there. Like, I like this. See how you broke this 2 daily lows, swept it, pushed back up, and now above? That is very nice. Wow, wow, wow. I'm really, really liking Merck. Just the sheer volume. Look at, you have the most traded price of this year, 79. You have another high volume node here that you just supported at 84. This is the anchor view up for this year. 200-day moving average now closed above it. Woof. Wow, Merck. You're making me want to trade you right now. And we'll end with the monthly chart in little weekly profiles. Okay, this is the week. This is the 5-day moving average. Look at that. Flattened out, and now you're above it. This is the month-to-date anchor view up. Look at this last week's volume. Look at that. Right here, most traded price. Couldn't go lower. Boom. Interesting. If this gets over 87, you're going to run up to 90s. Wow, Merck. Really liking you, Merck. I love it. All right. I didn't think I would be talking about Merck like that, but I am. Merck's on the list. All right. Now, if anybody saw that or anybody's even watching me, if you want me to analyze the stock, we can do it. Possibly if there's enough time, I will do it. Okay. I didn't do gamma levels or weekly expected moves on that yet, and I can. So let's move on. I'll skip internals. Internals was just strong all day yesterday. There wasn't really much to read. Gold is giving me that alert constantly. All right, so we're not going to get into that. Now, we can get into monthlies. Hourlies. Let's do it. And we'll just look at crude. I don't know what it's doing right now because I went long on crude. So here's our hourlies. There's not much to digest here. Okay. This is a high volume node, 67.66. Also happens to be last week's highs. Most traded prices yesterday is right here. There is a lot at overhead supply here. Okay. A lot. So if we bring this chart down, there is so much stacked supply above this. It's pretty crazy. Okay. If I show you, let's just go to a 4-hour. Okay. There is a lot. I mean, a lot. Look at this. Look at this congestion we're up in. And now price is here. That, my friends, is not easy to cut through. It's not. I think we probably will. Again, I'm not sure, but this is not easy to cut through. So that's why this market. And if you look at this from when we bottomed, that's kind of been the only consolidation was right here, really. That's been pretty poor structure there. And then again, whoop. Okay. So 67.66 becomes your little line in the sand here. Okay, because now we pulled back to it. This is the bottom of that balance area. So do we start going into this area? Or we break 67.66, retest it, and oh boy, go back to ultimate balance. I don't know. And if you go below that, whoa. But I don't know, right? Have to see. Let's change that back to an hourly. Alrighty, let's go to NASDAQ. Here's our NASDAQ. Now, NASDAQ, same kind of deal. You can see the consolidation we're in from the past. You don't have the stack demands like you do in the ES, but you do have this. Then you can see the high volume node here. Okay. So the NASDAQ has pulled back as well. Now that you knew that consolidation, we'll just get into here. Okay. So we pulled back, right? Pretty orderly. Now this is pretty orderly, which means that we could pretty much clean that up and move back up to all-time highs. Okay. So that definitely could be in the cards. Okay. Now you have this little patch of single prints from yesterday, this 25250s. If you lose that swing low, well, look at that structure. You could take that back. Okay. Ultimate balance is still at 249s. Okay. That's last month's highs. Month-to-date anchor VWAPs right here. Buyers are in control of the month. We'll see. Okay. We'll see. Momentum is definitely with bulls. You have to be honest with that. Okay. All right. That's your hourly charts. That is your hourly charts. All right. Let's move on to the market profile, volume profile. And let's come up with some kind of game plan for today. Yesterday, I did not like that price action. Ugh. That was not my cup of tea. Okay. That's why I stuck to options. Oop, I'm showing you Alfie here. Didn't want to do that. And I'm showing you my Discord. I didn't want to do that. All right, let me get to the right graphic here. This is your market profile, volume profile. All right. Let's push down here in this to here, and we're going to expand this up. All right. Now, yesterday we just had an open drive. Created some single prints here at the bottom and right here. Okay, so we have double distribution profile in the overnights. Okay, we don't have a proper tail at the highs here from yesterday. Okay, but we just have so much stacked demand up here. It is not easy going to push through this. Okay, so That profile's kind of ugly to the right, that composite profile. Now, we have our levels here. All right, so this 67.66 happens to be a high volume node. It happens to be the overnight lows. It happens to be last week's highs. That right there is a mini bull bear line. All right, bulls do not want to lose that, because below that you don't have good structure. You don't have good foundation. That's where Elfie gets in. That's where Elfie gets in the mix here. That's an elephant on a toothpick. Let's put Elfie up there again. Elephant on a toothpick. Okay, that's what this toothpick is, and this is what the elephant is. All right. So, two ways, right? If this poor foundation can hold the elephant, then that's a toothpick that anybody in the world should buy. That's a super strong toothpick, and that's bullish. However, if the market gets weak, this gets cleaned up pretty easily. Okay? We got some great levels today. Now, yesterday's highs and the overnight highs are pretty much equal. So we're putting here a nice supply zone. Begging, so you really have the overnight session as very key barometers. The 67, 83s, the 85s is your overnight highs and your yesterday's highs. The overnight lows in the 67, 66s. All right. So either we go higher or lower, and it could be a lot of games being played. Okay. That's really it there. Okay. Now we have our single prints. Remember, this is poor. This is emotional buying from yesterday. One way action. Okay. Remember, if these are support, if this is supportive here, that's bullish. A weak market just rips through them. Okay. Now we still came from ultimate balance, which is still down here. Okay. Above that, macro wise, is bullish. All right. Now we can get right into it. Okay. Right into it. Let's get into scenarios here. We're going to start. Let's open this up. Hold on. All right, let's start with the bull side. They're in control. All right, so what are we going to look at, right? So the most traded price of the overnight 6777, which happens to be the close of yesterday. Interesting, right? And then your most traded price of yesterday 6774. That's all this volume just chilling here. Okay. So we're right here. We just came down, pulled back, hung out here. Nice pullback to this level. So what you want to see is if we can break up to the 67, 83, 85s, break that, maybe pull back and get a nice move and see if you can cut through all this heavy supply. Okay. Now, I think a little bit of a bear trap would be is if we come down, take the 67, 62s out, right? And it's like, uh-oh, I want to say something here. Okay. If, hold on a second, I got to remove these. Wait, do I have to? Yes. Let's remove these single prints from the past. Okay. Now, if this market's not weak, okay, if this market is not weak, and we do one of these, whoop, hit the month to date, week to date view up, or in these singles, and you get support and you retest that, that's a long. Underneath this, any acceptance underneath this is not bullish. But that's it for my longs. Okay? Shorts. There's a lot of overhead supply, folks. So if I'm looking at this, all right, let's break yesterday's highs, overnight highs. Maybe hit this 67.90, this high volume node right there. Maybe get a rejection, a lower high. Now you're going to target that 6777. That's the close, the overnight VPOC. If you start to cook here, that overnight lows is another place that maybe take some profits. But if you take that out and the market is weak and we get some panic, you're going to go right through this, because LV is going to show up and say, ain't no toothpick can hold me. I'm too heavy. And we're going to take out yesterday's lows and probably go back into this move and might go back to ultimate balance around the 67.15s, 67.10s. Okay. Now, if you want to be conservative, wait for the break of the overnight lows and this single prints, and then maybe retest 67.66 to go down. Okay, that's my ES. That's it. Let's look at crude real quick. I didn't go over crude. So there's crude. Now the crude opens, okay? Crude opens. It's starting to push now. Okay, so crude opens at 9 a.m. Okay, so this is what happened. This is the market profiles, obviously. So we came down here and we kind of swept this price, and then we reversed. And this is the most traded price of the week, 57. Okay, what I'm thinking we do is we can push up into this area, 58s. And then we're probably going to get a little pause here. It depends how strong crude is. Okay. And I think we can push up to at least here to 59s and maybe more. This is last week's highs, which is like 59. If we go up to 60, that's all gravy. Okay. Now let's look at a daily chart real quick. This is really nice. You see this on a daily chart? So look to the left. You came into this support right here, right? And you thought you were getting bought. That's why I waited. You had another day where you took out that low and then tried again this morning, and then boom, you're getting a lift off. Now there is a little daily supply zone right, we're almost into it, 57.78. This will be the big test. Do we take this out? Right? Do we take this out? It's getting some lift right now. So that's been selling all the way since September 26th. So I'm sure other people saw this big time support and is like, all right, let's try to go. That's why I put that trade on. You can look at it at a different way here. These are 4-hour candles. Okay. So look at this consolidation. Look, we're starting to push out of it. That's why I got long. And you see this candle right here? We can move back up into this consolidation. It might pause it, but you got to just test it out. And then you can see the low volume node here based on these candlesticks, right? So I'm thinking we might pause a little here, move, break this, and try to move up to at least 60 to the bottom of this like value area. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for. I think it could cook. I really do. I think this could really start pushing. All right. My spread is in the money at 58. So we'll see. Okay. Now moving on to NASDAQ. To the NASDAQ. Okay. Alrighty. All right, let's look at it here. Now, NASDAQ also had an open drive. Single prints there. Okay, single prints there. We are in supply. Price is right here. All right. So again, pretty much we'll look at the overnights. Most traded prices yesterday, right here. Now we do have, this is pretty bullish. The 25320s in the 24-hour session is the most traded price of the week now. So that's right here. That's very bullish. Okay. That means you probably see higher prices, but we'll see. Now, in this case, the value area lows from yesterday and the overnight session and the single prints are all together. Okay, and then you have single prints. In here. So we have a similar setup. You just don't have as much stacked overhead supply as you did in the ES in the Nasdaq. Okay, you just don't have that. Okay. Now, very easy. Same thing. So let's get into it and give you the scenarios and get. Ooh. Oh, damn it. Ugh. Really? Hold on a second. I have to see if I can. Okay. I think I just changed it. Okay. Let's get into scenarios here. Let's make this build out here. Okay. So, well, getting a little pullback here. That should probably mean crude is doing its thing. Now, let's do it. All right, we're going to start with bull side. So, here's our single prints. Remember, support in single prints is bullish. This also lines up with value area low from yesterday, overnight lows, single prints, 50% retracement of yesterday's session. Okay, so right now we're underneath yesterday's most traded price. So if we push back right into here, I think you can get a little bear trap here. Hold it, hit and hold that most traded price at overnight around the 25275s. Try to break yesterday's most traded price and take off to all-time highs. Now, here's the little difference because of the structure in the Nasdaq. I think if you start out a little more weak and you very quickly come down and bypass this week-to-day VWAP, you have a lot of single prints here and last week's highs. Any support in here is bullish. And I wouldn't go too deep, but around to the last week's highs, if you did this and this, or maybe even tipped the top of that demand and went like this, that's a long. And you try to tap yesterday's highs. Okay. That's what I'm looking at for longs. Shorts. Let's do shorts. Okay. Now, right here, you can see yesterday's most traded price and the most traded price of the week in the 24-hour session, which is that 25320s, is causing resistance right now, right? So maybe we push down, pull back, try to break that, fail, retest, you short that, you try to take out those overnight lows. Now remember, this is when the elephant on the toothpick shows its head because we have single prints. All right, now if the market is weak, say we move up here and this starts to panic people, you're going to cut through those singles. Then you have more single prints. If there's momentum and panic, these are going to get cleaned up. You're going to take out yesterday's lows. Now you have big demand down here. If the panic really happens, this is kind of like a look above and fail, and we're going to go down to 249s. All right. But remember, bulls have the momentum. You'll know when sellers are panicking. It just rips. Okay. That's it, folks, for today. If you enjoyed that analysis, please smash that like button. Okay. That will help me out a lot. Now, hopefully, everybody joins me every morning. Okay. Subscribe. Set an alert. Okay. Let me give you the market story. Let me be your cup of coffee, tea, water, podcast. I won't guide you wrong. I'll let you know why the market is doing what it's doing and give you my outlook on probabilities. Okay? You never know when you put on a trade what's going to happen. Never know. I never know. Okay? So, hopefully you sign up. All right? Had a little brain fart there. Now, if you want more live coverage, more in depth coverage, more granular, right? You will join my Discord, Confluence Trading. Go to the YouTube homepage, click on the link, sign up. What are you waiting for? Let me be your indicator, okay? What I'm telling you, I'm generally can pick what's going to happen in the markets, okay? Unless there's a news catalyst, which you can't prove. But I'm always good for the next 15 minutes to the next half hour. This is what we should do. Usually for the day, unless there's a catalyst. Remember, I'm looking at stuff in the snapshot, so it's not like most times I can predict the day. But that doesn't mean I always make money every day because there might not be a trade setup. Okay, but I'm very good at the probabilities of the day. Okay, yesterday I generally would try to do an SPX credit spread or something if I don't like futures. I just did not like that market yesterday. So I traded some options. Okay? Now, that being said, all right, please join the Discord. All right? Now, if I don't see you in the Discord, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Everybody have a great day, all right? Remember, no trade's a trade.